Hello there and welcome to another edition of Engineering and You, the program where we bring to you people that have done well for themselves in their field of endeavor to encourage secondary school students and younger to study engineering. And we know that when engineering is the mainstay in a nation, that nation is definitely going to move from one level to another, going from glory to glory and from strength to strength. My name is Tunolanyo. And on this week's edition, we are having a very interesting one, as usual. But before then, you know, the program is very interactive. Prize, courtesy of our sponsor, Prince Engineer MC Shillon, is the question for today is the vertical support structure of a building is what? What is the vertical support structure of a building? If you know the answer options are A, beam, B, column, C, foundation across to us and get the prize. The question once again, name the vertical support structure of a building. Is it A, beam, B, column, C, foundation, and D, foot? The program is sponsored by Prince Engineer MC Shillon, and courtesy of the sponsor, you get a prize if you get it correctly. We'll be right back. When we return, I will let you know who my guest is, what topic we'll be discussing with us today, and we'll take it off from there. Don't go anywhere. I'm glad to know that you are still there. The program is Engineering and You, sponsored by Prince Engineer MC Shillon, FNSC. All right, last week we had a question for the week, and we had the conversation going on all our various social media platforms. But on YouTube, someone got it correctly, and that is Abeokuta Oluwatoyin Omolade. So Abeokuta Omolade, we are going to be engaging you on that same platform to get your prize, courtesy of our sponsor, Prince Engineer MC Shillon. And if you can, why not be like Omolade and engage us also on any of those platforms? And rest assured, if you get our questions correctly, you'll get your prize. My guest for today is architect Dr. SEYI ABATAN. Architect Dr. SEYI ABATAN. You'll be discussing with us, that is the discussion on your screen, architect's role in the built environment. So he will be discussing with us on that topic, and I'm sure you're going to learn one or two things from him. So let me welcome architect Dr. SEYI ABATAN. Welcome to Engineering and You.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, that topic is kind of, it looks interesting. I'd like you to have the floor and discuss on that. What is architect's role in the built environment? What is it all about?
Well, thank you very much. The architect is one of the very prominent professionals in the built environment. And he has, like every other professional in the built environment, the architect has a special role to play in ensuring that the built environment is sustainable, is properly ordered, the built environment is inclusive, you know, and to make sure that the architects want to make sure that safety is promoted, we avoid problems, you know, that are common in our environment. So the architect's role is very germane in the built environment to ensure many other things are done properly in the built environment. Now, you will discover that the architect, if we talk about the built environment, you will see that several things happen in the built environment. And when we say the built environment, let me just put it straight. You can see the built environment refers to the human-made surroundings. That means there is human intervention in the built environment. Now, there's a difference between the built environment and the natural environment. The natural environment is where you have little or no human intervention. You understand? So when we have human intervention, we have buildings, infrastructure, bridges, roads, and several other facilities like that. That is it's already built. It's a built environment.
Okay.
Now, there are several professionals, about 7 of them, who are engaged in planning, designing, managing the built environment. One of them is the architect. The other ones are the urban and regional planners, the land surveyors, the engineers, the builders, estate managers, valuers, and the quantity surveyors. Now, who is the architect? And what makes the architect different from the other professionals? Because all of us are aware all those professionals exist in the built environment, but there is something that distincts the architect from all the other professionals in the built environment. The number one thing is the architect is the lead consultant. You understand? And that is why he plays a prominent role in understanding the needs of the users of the built environment. And the built environment, like I said, is very important. Apart from the other facilities, the building itself, studies have shown that we spend over 70% of our lifetime inside buildings. And you can now see how important the building is in the built environment. So, the architect must understand and respond to the needs of the people, of the users of that built environment. You understand? While the other professionals, unlike the other professionals who are involved or concerned about technical aspects of the built environment, the architect is more or less, he collects the brief from the client. That means, look at the interaction. He must understand and respond to the needs of the client. And that is by spatial organization. How does it create spaces for different activities? That means the design of the architect must be empathetic. Empathy. You understand? That is understanding and responding to the needs of the users of that particular environment. You understand? So, be it an animal. If an architect is going to design, for example, an architect is going to design a zoological garden, you understand? Or is involved in designing of a mental home or something, the architect must first of all understand what are the needs of those people. So apart from the fact that the design must be empathetic, the design must also be sympathetic. Those are the keywords. Whereas other professionals, for example, the engineer can be involved in maybe structural stability and whatever. But those key things, and that is one of the things that determines underscores the training of an architect. And that's why the architect is different from all other professionals. Yes.
All right. I want to ask, because this program is about engineering and all. Now, you mentioned earlier that one of the people that work in a built environment is an engineer. What's the role? What's the relationship between an architect and an engineer? Are there a relationship when it comes to construction, building?
Very, thank you, sir. Very strong relationship. The engineer, basically, fundamentally, the engineer is concerned with the structural stability of the building. There was a Greek architect, Vitruvius, an very old ancient architect. He comes up with a principle, we call it the Vitruvian Trinity. That means every building must satisfy those 3 qualities. That is, firmitas, utilitas, and venostas. That means a building must be firm, that means it must be stable. You don't have an impression that the building wants to fall down on you, Utility, that is functionality. And venostal, that means the building must be, you know, aesthetic quality, beauty must be beautiful. You understand? It must have aesthetic appeal. Now, one of the things, the major thing that concerns the engineer majorly is the aspect of stability, structural stability. And that is why that aspect of ensuring that the building is structurally stable is in the domain of the structural engineer. And apart from the structural engineer, there are several other engineers that are involved in buildings, so that we don't just limit it to the structural engineer. We have the acoustic engineers. For example, we are in a studio now. You can have an acoustic expert who understands how sound travels, you know, like that, you know. And some very other complex projects, we have some other types of engineers who are, you know. So it depends on the complexity of the project. But basically, the engineer is in charge of the structural stability of the building.
Okay, your slides are still on. I was told you are not yet exhausted.
Okay.
So.
Now, the key roles of the and responsibility of an architect in a project: client consultation. That's why I told you briefing. It is the architect that will collect the brief. You understand? And that is why after collecting the brief, it's not the engineer that collects the brief, nor the town planner or whoever. It is the architect, and that is why I was talking about the needs. That means the architect must now interpret the needs of the client into conceptual program, and think it out. That aspect of thinking out the brief, working it out, you understand, to ensure that those key things that I've mentioned, empathy and sympathy, because the design, apart from the fact that, you know, the architecture is all about how the feel, the look of the building, the feel, how do you feel, how do you respond? You know, there are ways that we respond to in our environment. Architecture can make you to respond in certain ways in your environment, to your environment. You understand? If you find yourself in a particular environment, the type of environment can dictate your behavior. That's environmental psychology. So, and that is one of the works of an architect. He must come up with a design that will ensure that the owner of that building feels the way he wants to feel. You understand? For example, if you have seen mortuary or morgue designs, and you get there, you feel that this is an unusual building. There is fear inside you. When you get to church, you feel reverence. That's reverence. When you get to a mosque, you know there's a feel of reverence. So, and that is what, and that's what makes architecture different from other professionals. You understand? The feel is there, and that is why there's something we call tacit knowledge. That tacit knowledge, it is only somebody who has undergone the training of being an architect that can understand what I'm saying. There are some things that, in the course of working with some other architects who are more experienced, who are more legit, and that's how you see how they work out things. And that's why in architecture you see some architects following some particular architects in their design. You see a particular architect following. You have different schools of thoughts in architecture. If you have somebody, you see somebody follow a particular pattern of architecture, somebody follow a particular pattern of a particular architecture. You understand? You understand? So, and that is architecture for you.
All right, we have a caller. Hello.
Hello, sir.
John from Ikorodu. Hello, John.
Good evening, sir.
How is Ikorodu today?
It's fine, sir. Thank you.
All right. You want to ask my guest a question, or you want to?
I want to answer the question, sir.
All right, please go ahead.
The answer is column.
All right, John, I'll let you know if you are correct or not. Please keep watching the program.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So, you were talking about your slides about the receiving briefing, the empathy, and all of that. So please go ahead.
Yes. So the architect collects the brief, the design brief. Now the architect gets involved in the design and planning of the scheme, you know. And you know, there is no doubt the architect, I told you earlier, the architect cannot do the job alone. Depending on the complexity of the job, he engages with some other professionals in the built environment to actualize the job. You understand? So the architect gets involved in site.
We have another caller. Glory from away. Hello, Glory.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you today?
Fine, sir.
All right. You want to ask my guest a question?
Can't answer the question.
All right, Glory. Please go ahead.
The answer is A colon.
Colon is not A. Column is B. The options are A, beam, B column, C foundation, and D foot. What's
B column.
All right. All right, Glory. Let's keep your fingers crossed. Keep watching. I'll let you know if you are correct. Thank you very much. All right, sir.
So, like I was saying, one of the roles of the architect is to ensure that the building he comes up with, they conform with the regulatory requirements. You understand? For example, I told you, for every environment or community, they have different environmental considerations. For example, the climate may be different, the cultural values may be different, the topography, you know, the environmental features, physical features, they may be different. For example, you have a slopey or whatever, you know. So those requirements. So if the architect comes with a design, apart from understanding the needs of the users of that building, the architect must also understand the environment where he's going to put the building. That's why I talk about sympathetic. Your building must sympathize with the environment in terms of the cultural affiliation, the geographical, climatic, and you understand all those things. They are there.
All right. Maybe I should just take one or two questions before I allow you to continue with your slide, because our time is fast running out of. We are running out of time. What is the role of? You are aware there is artificial intelligence these days, the automation, robotics, and all that. What role do they play in the field of engineering or architecture?
Well, the artificial intelligence is very topical. There's no doubt. It has a strong influence on the profession of architecture, you know, in terms of getting the job done faster, in terms of coming up with schemes that are, you know, improving the aesthetic quality, and, you know, technology has influenced everything, including architecture. But what technology cannot do is still technology cannot collect brief. You can only use the technology to enhance the product. The process is still the same. You can only use technology to enhance the product, the architectural product, the product of the built environment. You understand? But there's no doubt, much as AI poses much importance, I don't think it's much of a threat to architecture, because even with AI, there is no way, AI cannot be so empathic to understand the needs of the people like the architect himself. You understand? So the AI, artificial intelligence, can actually help and enhance. You understand? You can complement your work. That's the way I look at it.
All right. Can you just, maybe we should allow you to finish your slides, because our time is, we have like 2 to 3 minutes more before we round off. So.
Now, I was talking about technical creativity. Creativity is key. An architect must be able to. You will have one of the qualities of an architect is to be creative. You must have creative tendencies, and that's why even people that are to be admitted to study architecture in schools, we look at how creative you are. To what extent are you creative? Then the technical knowledge of the profession. Architecture is basically problem solving. Then communication. You understand? The architect must be able to communicate to a wide range of stakeholders. You must be able to communicate with the client, communicate with the other consultant like yourself. You understand? Communication is key, and that's why, with very poor communication, you know, professionals run into trouble, glitches. You understand? So, but a good architect and a strong architect was able to communicate very well among those other professionals, communicate with the client, you know, and that's the way it goes. So attention to details, very important. An architect was able to give attention to detail, minute details, because those things can lead into litigation. If you are not careful about how you handle details, It can be the cause of litigation.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. As we round off, can you run us through the process from conception to completion of a project? Can you just, for the sake of, because our target audience are young people,
Okay.
can you just run us through the process of what happens from conception down to completion. Of a structure?
Yeah, like we have said it in the course of the work program. The architect collects the brief. He goes back to his office to interpret the brief. He visits the sites, prepares the preliminary drawings, you know, with the other professionals. They prepare their own preliminary drawings too, and they go back to the client to seek the approval of the client. They begin to talk about budget, talk about timeline, how soon are you going to complete the job, what are the technicalities involved, and after that, they go ahead with the final product. You understand? Bearing in mind that the regulatory requirements are there, that your design has to satisfy, and they go take the thing to the planning office, and after the whatever approval, the project starts. They start the project, and the architect is involved in the supervision, certification. You know, if it is a contract, the architect must know at what stage you certify this and this, like that, you know. So as the architect, you cannot take up the role of an engineer, you cannot take the role of a quantity surveyor, you know. You have your own role, everybody has his own role, you understand? But of course, you are involved in project management, coordinating the other professionals, and make sure that the project is properly delivered.
All right, our time is fast spent. You know, they say our time flies when you are having fun. But we on the program today, we had 2 callers. Both of them got our question correctly, but we have just one prize. So, John from Ikorodu, you called us first, so you are going to be having our prize for today. Congratulations, John. And I'm sure you are watching. Call this number, 0703 161 1497, 0703 161 1497, to claim your prize, courtesy of the sponsor of the program, Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC. And we have to go now. The question for the week, as we go along this week, is name the condition when a person cannot see distant object clearly. What is the name of that condition? Like Abeokuta got our question answered correctly via YouTube. All our social media handles are on your screen right now. You can engage us all through this week. If you get the answer correctly, if you get the answer to the question, you are going to be announced next Friday and going to get a prize courtesy of our sponsor, Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon. On this note, I would like to say a big thank you to architect SEYI, architect Dr. SEYI ABATAN, for making it to the program and for educating us on this program. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
And also thank you for being there since 5:30 p.m. when the program started, and many thanks to our sponsor, Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, for doing this and bringing us to your viewing pleasure every Friday. We have to draw the curtain. Thank you very much. Next week is another time. We'll bring you another guest to discuss another topic that will be educative. Until next week, my name is Tunde Olaniran. Bye-bye.